I was in Haiti at the height of the cholera epidemic in 2010, the chikungunya pandemic of 2014, after Hurricane Matthew ravaged southwest Haiti in 2016, during numerous political crises and a COVID-19 outbreak, but nothing prepared me for this. This was loss like I have never witnessed. The people of Haiti work extremely hard for what little they have, and for many of them, everything they had was lost in 40 seconds on August 14th. There are so many images that won't leave my mind. Funeral processions, survivors digging through the rubble of what had been their home, trying to recover anything. A group of men rebuilding a church with hand saws. Children with improperly treated wounds that had become infected. One haunting memory was a woman we met whose baby had 2 broken legs. We asked what happened, and the woman told us that as her house was coming down, her husband threw his body over the baby to save her little life. The weight of his body broke her legs. The weight of the walls that collapsed on them killed her husband. We learned that in the mountain village of Maslin, the men were working on a flat piece of land between 2 mountains. When the quake hit, landslides occurred simultaneously on both sides of the men, burying them as the 2 mountains became one. The husbands, the fathers, the breadwinners of that community were buried and gone in an instant. Widowed women of all ages were left to provide for their children alone, many with their homes reduced to rubble. And there was the 2-month-old baby who was placed in my arms in Camp Perrin. During the quake, his father grabbed him and escaped their falling house. The grandmother was trapped under a wall and severely injured, and this baby's young mother perished in the house. I looked at this precious boy in my arms and felt so much sadness that he would never know or remember his mother. I studied the face of his widowed father and saw a man who was simply lost. This 24-year-old new dad had buried his wife the previous day. If a 7.2 earthquake hit our country, help would be on the way immediately. But in Haiti, no government or military rescue came that day. And people can't just simply rebuild their homes. They were barely scraping by before. They have no money to rebuild. The recovery needs are overwhelming, but so much of what was lost can't be restored. Human lives, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, children, and babies perished. I talked to people who visibly were still in shock. I saw the emptiness in their eyes and heard the hollowness in their voices. If I have learned anything about the Haitian people in 11 years serving there, I have learned that they are the most resilient people on the planet. No matter what they endure, and they have endured tragedies and setbacks on a monumental scale, they pick themselves up by the bootstraps and move forward. They don't want or ask for sympathy. But I learned on this trip that they do want to talk about the tragedy. They want to tell you their earthquake story. Do you know what so many of them said? They said, "I lost my home, but that's okay. I'm alive by the grace of God." They lost everything, but are still counting their blessings. To them, it's only a house. It's only stuff. They have a grasp on what's important in this life, and they realize it isn't what we accumulate. The Haitian people have taught me this lesson over and over again. I am deeply grateful that God chose to take me out of my comfort zone in 2010 and lead me to a place that changed my life forever. Haiti is a place the world would prefer not to hear about. It is poor. There is corruption. But Haiti is not to be pitied. The Haitian people are an example of deep, loving relationships, immense faith in God, uninhibited worship of their Creator, strong work ethic, and indomitable spirit. They keep going forward after constant setbacks. I don't want to rescue them. I want to be more like them.